Welcome to my notes on one-step practical problems. So today we're going to look at word problems that can be solved using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division equations. So here are our steps to solving word problems. First, we need to read the problem, underline key words, define the variable, and write the equation. Solve your equation. Analyze your answer. Does it make sense? Okay, so we're first going to look at a couple addition and subtraction word problems. And I know what you're going to be thinking when we're doing these. There's a much easier way to solve it without setting up an equation. You can do it in your head. I've heard all of these things, but the reason we need to write the equation the way I'm going to show you is because the SOL expects you to write an equation based on the words. And so if you were to get a question on the SOL that had to pick the correct equation, you would be able to do it. So please write down everything I write down and try to understand where I'm coming up with these equations. So number one, after you withdraw $40 from your bank account, underline that, the remaining balance is $287, underline. How much was in your bank account to begin with? So underline how much bank account to begin with. Okay, so the first step is to define our variables. So B equals amount of money in your bank account. So defining the variable just tells us what we're looking for. So it says after you withdraw $40 from your bank account. When you're withdrawing, you are subtracting. So the amount of money in your bank account to begin with is B, and you're going to take away $40 and you're going to be left with $287. Remember, is another word for equals. So now we have a subtraction equation, so we are going to draw our T, and we're going to add 40 to both sides. Okay, these cancel and give us 0, and B will equal 287 plus 40, which is $327. Now, we double check to make sure we did it right. So we would double check 327 minus 40. So we could check that in our calculator or in our head. And it does in fact check. And now we ask ourselves, does my answer make sense? So is it makes sense that we had more money in our account to begin with, and then we withdraw money and we were left with less? Yeah, that makes sense. So our answer is reasonable. Number two, Michaela was selling tickets for the school play. She sold 58 more than, so 58 more adult tickets than, and I'll tell you why I'm circling that in a minute, children's tickets. If she sold 175 adult tickets, how many children's tickets were sold? So what is this question asking us to find? Good, children's tickets. So C equals children's tickets. Okay, it says she sold 58 more adult tickets than children's tickets. So 58 more adult tickets than children's tickets, which means if I add 58 to the amount of children's tickets she sold, then I will know how many adult tickets. So C plus 58. Now, equals 175. Now, I told you I would come back to why I circled that. Notice I didn't write 58 plus C. I wrote C plus 58. So I changed the order, and this is why. This is 58 more adult tickets than children's tickets, which that right there means I sold 58 more than children's tickets, which means I added 58 to the amount of children's tickets. So that's why I put the C first. Okay, so this is an addition equation, so we're going to draw our T, and we're going to do the opposite, which is subtract 58. 58's cancel, and we get 0. Bring down your C, and 175 minus 58 is 117 tickets. So, let's double check. 117 plus 58 does in fact equal 175. And we know that she sold more adult tickets than children's tickets. So are there more adult tickets, 175, than children's tickets? Yes, so our answer is reasonable. So it works out. Okay, now we're going to try some multiplication and division word problems. If one pack of DVDs costs $15, underline, how many packs could you buy with $225? Now, we know how much one pack costs. And so let me ask you this. If I said we went to the store and bought 3 packs of DVDs, how much would that be? $45, because you did 15 times 3, right? So we're going to do 15, whoops, hold on. Let's define our variable first, sorry about that. P equals packs of DVDs. Now we think about what I just said. So you take the amount each pack is, and you multiply by how many packs you're buying. Well, we don't know how many packs we're buying, so we're going to say 15 times P. So notice when I represent multiplication, I put the number in front of the letter. And that equals $225. Now the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 15. So P equals 15 packs. Okay, number 4. There were 740 basketball tickets sold for the Wilson versus Riverheads basketball game, which is half the amount of tickets sold for the football game. How many tickets were sold for the football game? So F equals football tickets. That's what we're looking for. How many football tickets? So now let's go back and look at this. This number right here is half the amount of tickets sold for the football game. So 740, we remember that is means equals. Half the amount of tickets sold for the football game. So 1/2 F. So I would multiply 1/2 times F. Or take half of F. Now, remember, how do we cancel out a fraction? Good, we multiply by its inverse. So how many halves make a whole? 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. We're going to multiply this side by 2. And so now this gives us 2 times 740 would be 1,480 tickets equals F. And remember, this is the same as F equals 1,480 tickets. So circle my answer. And it's okay to leave it like this, and it's okay to rewrite it as F equals 1,480 tickets as well. I want you to know that both mean the same thing. Okay, turn the page, and let's look at 4 more examples. Now I'm going to mix them up, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker now. Dante earned $18 in tips on Wednesday. This was 3 times the amount he earned on Tuesday. How much did Dante earn on Tuesday? So T equals Tuesday's tips, or amount earned on Tuesday. Okay, now, this number right here was. That means this number equals, because was is past tense for is. So 18 equals 3 times the amount he earned on Tuesday. So the opposite of multiplication is division, so I can divide both sides by 3. 3 divided by 3 is a 1 in disguise, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. So 6 equals t, or t equals 6, and this is $6. So remember, 6 equals t is the same as t equals 6. Number 6, by 11 o'clock, the temperature had fallen 10 degrees. So temperature had fallen 10 degrees. Underline. Which resulted in a temperature of -8. What was the temperature before 11? So what is this question asking me for? Temperature before 11. Okay, so what do you think the word fallen means? Is that addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Good, it's subtraction. So t minus 10 equals -8. Okay, it's subtraction, so I'm going to draw my t. And what's the opposite of subtracting 10? Good, adding 10. The 10's cancel, which gives me 0, so t equals -8 plus 10 is 2. So I double check, 2 minus 10 is -8, and is that reasonable that the temperature, if it had fallen, was greater than what it ended up? Yeah, makes sense. And I never went back to this one. We never looked to see if this one makes sense. Dante earned 3 times the amount he earned on Tuesday. Is 18 3 times as big as 6? It sure is, so that makes sense as well. Okay, moving on. We have 2 more examples left. So let's look at number 7. In 1997, the minimum wage was increased. So minimum wage increased by 40 cents for a total of $5.15. What was the minimum wage before the increase? So M equals minimum wage. Okay, so it says the minimum wage was increased. What does increase mean? Add. So M plus 40, and the total is 515, so that's what it equals. This is an addition, so we're going to draw our T. The opposite of adding is subtracting, so we're going to subtract 40 cents from both sides. The 40 cents cancel, and we get 0, so M equals $5.15 minus 40 cents. And the answer is $4.75. Okay, let's see if this is reasonable. If we add 40 cents to 475, we get 515. Yes. And let's see. Does it make sense that the minimum wage before the increase was less? Yeah, because if it's increasing, it's going up, so that would make sense that it was less than 515. So yes, my answer is reasonable. And the last one, the waitress at a restaurant brought over the total bill for dinner. 8 people ate the dinner that night and decided to divide the bill evenly. Each person chips in $16.50. What was the amount of the total bill? So T equals total bill. Okay, so we're dividing the bill evenly. So we're dividing the total bill. So how many people are we dividing it with? Good, 8. So we're going to do T divided by 8 equals $16.50 because each person has to give $16.50. So now the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to divide both sides by 8. This is going to give us a 1 in disguise. So T equals $16.50 times 8. Which is $132. Okay. And let's see if that makes sense that the total bill was split up 8 ways and it equals $16.50 per person? Yeah, because the bill would have to be a lot more than each person put in if we're dividing it by 8 people. Okay, that concludes our notes on one-step practical problems. I hope you have a great day.